over the Chapter 4 Mastery and with the graph paper you worked on yesterday. If you lost either of those things, that's not good, and you're going to need to come see me. I have papers to give you back. Let me just make announcements and I'll get you papers. Sorry, I'm looking for the clip from this class so I can put their cards away. Aha. All right, so what announcement was I starting? Oh, due date. So in your due date box, what I'm going to ask for you guys to write is the grouping of assignments. So the next homework collection I will be doing is the group 511 and 512. Which if today's 511 and we do 512 tomorrow, what's tomorrow? Wednesday. Careful, don't jump to Thursday already. Yeah. And then if you do it on Wednesday, when could I collect it?
Thursday.
Ooh, Friday. I mean, you could turn it in on Thursday, but 2 days, right? So you could always just write in that little box 2 days, and that's you always have 2 days. But I'd rather you write the group of assignments that need to be turned in together. So I'm just going to do the pair, 511 and 512. I'm going to collect those Friday to make sure that we're coming back from winter break and getting on top of our work and using our time wisely. So today's work is 511. It's just the back. The whole front of this paper we're going to do in class together. So it's just like 4 or 5 problems on the back.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
I love all the plaids you got going on.
Thank you. Did they already turn in their homework?
Oh, I re-announced about that they just need to, as soon as possible, reattach it with the original. I had this all set. That. And they staple it. What's up? Don't do it. Yeah, I have papers for you as well. Just let me get going. I gotta get people started and then I'll catch up with passing out papers and stuff. Sorry guys, my tech stuff this morning got me all screwed up. Today is the 7th, all day long.
Today's my birthday.
Happy birthday. Today is Mr. Estes' birthday and my brother-in-law's birthday.
What? Happy birthday! We didn't say happy birthday to your sister.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
It's
like, so I find myself doing it when I'm anxious, and right now I'm not teaching you, and I should be, so I'm anxious because I should be teaching you, but my technology stuff this morning was all messed up. So, one thing you guys may or may not know about me, most of you probably not, is my wife used to be a teacher, and actually she was a health teacher. She taught phys ed, but she wanted to teach health. It's just there's not a whole lot of health teachers these days. And one of the big things that she would focus on getting her kids to understand is the nutrition label. Because a lot of people, like even adults, don't understand what the nutrition label is actually telling you. Like they don't understand, what these percentages are. Can anyone tell, does anyone know how to read nutrition labels, and are you able to talk about like what is going on over here with those percents, Maxton?
It means like how much I'm thinking.
Compare so if the fat in here is 18%, what's that? It's okay, 18%
of 12 grams.
That 12 grams is 18% actually. So this 12 grams equals 18%, but percent of, and it actually says it on the label.
Oh,
right? Sorry, hold on, right?
This is basically telling you, like, for people who are diabetic, with how much something adds and something. So
Ooh, not just diabetic, but anybody on a diet.
But it's basically telling you how much of a certain thing there is, like total fats and like saturated fat and all that stuff. It's basically telling you how much they add in that.
Ooh, not necessarily added, you're right, but like it might just be there. So So say it's like a fruit or a vegetable, like it has certain things in it. This is percent daily value. So what it's telling you is if I eat 5 of whatever this thing is, I don't think it tells us what it is. Part to whole relationships. If I eat 5 of these, because this is almost 20, that's all of the fat that I'm supposed to consume that day. So if you look at an item, and actually guys, I care about this a lot. I've like ever since about a year ago, I went to get my heart checked on, so as you guys know, like I got that heart thing. And my heart doctor goes, dude, you got to get your sodium intake down. You got to get your blood pressure down. Your blood pressure is literally like the pressure behind your blood pumping through your body. Sodium increases that. So now pretty much everything I'm eating, I'm looking at the food label. I'm saying how much sodium is in this. And if there's a lot, like percent-wise, it's not healthy for you. That's a lot of salt for your body. Now, you guys don't need to stress out about these things as much because you're young, you're growing, you put stuff in, and it just gets all burned up because you're burning energy like crazy. But as you get older, it matters more and more. So, guys, that is part to whole to everything that you should be having. So, oh, that was cheesy mac. That was mac and cheese. Right? That was mac and cheese. Yeah. Hey, Maxon's trying to ask a question, guys.
Would that also technically be like the full Raisin Bran?
For Raisin Bran? What do you mean for Raisin Bran?
Like, would it also show how much sodium?
Oh, anything, any food that you buy at the grocery store or whatever is gonna have that label on it, and you'll be able to look at all that. So yeah, go home and check out food labels if you want.
My Raisin Bran says it has just 50%. It's 100%. Like out of all.
Probably a lot of fiber is what
yes,
I'm thinking.
It has 20 grams of fiber.
Yeah. All right, so look at your notes page that I gave you. Sorry if my camera ever loads up. This page, you still need it? I got you. Oh, you need one too?
I don't know what page
Oh,
that
sorry,
is.
that goes to him. Do you need one too, Maxton?
I do.
Guys,
Oh,
you need a
this
class.
page.
Everyone needs one of these. I wonder if you're reading or drawing or...
Oh, is it this page?
This page.
Oh.
At the top, it says equivalent ratios and part to whole relationships. You need this? No, you need to flip yours back over. Yeah? Anyone else need this? Which question?
So, like, why does, like, I understand my water has minerals and stuff in it. Why, how can we still put the label on it?
It's law. It's silly, but it's law. And because actually part of what that label tells you is where it came from.
Oh.
So that's probably what people care about more. So for us to understand what we're about to do, we got to understand ratios and equivalent ratios, which you guys are doing really well with. Like as we've been doing these tests, and especially that chapter 4 test, the back of it, you guys are doing really good with this. But a ratio is a comparison of two quantities by what operation should go here, like add, subtract, multiply, divide. Morgan? Layla? This is division. So please fill that in. A ratio is a comparison from division. So a fraction is a ratio. So you can also underline fraction right down here. So if we wanted to talk about a ratio or a comparison of two quantities, we can do this in 3 ways. We can do it in words, such as 2 to 4, and I chose the number 2 to write it in the different spelling, right? TWO versus TO. But this 2 is your comparison, your ratio word to compare. Now that 2, TO, when we go to write it out, with numbers becomes a colon. So please write out those examples. 224 becomes 2:4, or it can also become 2/4. Now, in ratio form, because somebody this morning said, oh, yeah, and then that's 50%. So, yeah, but that's not a ratio, unless you talk about 50 to 100. So, actually, percents are already kind of a ratio, right? If we talk about 50%, because actually what the student this morning said first was, oh, that's 0.5. And I said, well, yeah, but 0.5 really we would talk about as 50%, which remember is 50 compared to 100. Any percent is compared to 100. So that's okay. If you want, put a little vertical line here because these are two different columns. So then this goes on. I wanted you guys to have this section to refer back to when you get confused at all. Most often in this course, ratios will be written as fractions or stated in words, like most of our homework problems are word problems. So if there are 28 students in the class and 15 of them are girls, first off, big class, 28 kids, that is a large class. Look at the order they ask us. Circle this 2 or highlight it if you have a highlighter at your desk. That indicates my order. Girls to students, and I bolded it because I just wanted to skip over the rest of the words that didn't matter as much. Girls to students is part to whole. So the relationships that we're talking about here, you don't have to write this, but you could. It's part to whole. It's girls to students. How many girls were there? 15. How many students?
28.
So we would write 15 colon 28. Or you could write 15 over 28. Now, last year, and a little bit this year, you guys used the giant one to make equivalent fractions. And I told you guys I wouldn't really talk about the giant one much more this year because we, instead of using the giant one, use these arrows, right? So you don't have to talk about what this guy down here is, but it is the giant one. We like to do it like this, so I would ask that you draw these on your paper. We instead have been showing the arrow multiplication of times 20 on top and times 20 on bottom. But this is a good reminder that the reason that new fraction is equal is because we actually multiplied by the number 1. When you multiply on top and bottom by the same thing, you actually multiplied by 1. And that doesn't change anything. So we don't need to care about the giant one, but technically in math, we have this thing called the multiplicative identity. Sorry, the hole punch stole the M. So if you want to put an M out here, the multiplicative identity says if you multiply by 1, your answer is the same. Identity means you're the same. Your identity is you. You get back the same thing. So multiplicative identity is that. Any questions on the little note section from the top? Now, we still want to keep this out because most of today you're going to do on this worksheet, so you can reference back to it when you're doing your homework later. So, a granola bar. A lot of mornings you might see me munching on a granola bar. Granola bar, whatever specific granola bar this is, has 4 grams of dietary fiber. I'm not quite sure why the word dietary, but it's got fiber in it, right? What's fiber in to do? Yeah, it makes you go poop. So, now, here's the issue. If you can't go to the bathroom, you probably aren't eating fiber. Like, your body needs fiber. So, to be healthy and, get what you're supposed to get, you need 100% of your daily value of fiber, because that's what doctors and smart people have determined will keep you alive for a long time, being happy and healthy and, going to the bathroom. So, we need to figure out what is 100%. What value, how many grams makes up 100%? Hey, Karen, can you put that away, please? Thank you very much. 4 grams. Oh, look, there's more information up here. On your paper, Where do you think we should put that 16%? Since they tell us 4 grams is 16%. Down here, right? Because if 4 grams is 16%, Juan, that goes down here, right? He knows. Right here. The image, right here, on the front. Right here. Oh, it doesn't. You guys don't have that on here. You gotta look up here for that info, but now we're gonna fill it in together. You don't have any of the words. You just have this diagram. You just because you're working with me, not working ahead. You're working with me.
Oh, I see.
Right?
Why would you eat too much fiber?
You go poop.
You get extremely poop.
It probably mean eventually too much of anything is not good for you. Like, I mean, if you triple your daily intake of sugar every day, you'll probably end up diabetic. Like, but I don't know what fiber does to you in the long run. You could look it up, but I mean, too much of anything is probably not good.
Just follow it to the side of your heart.
So this was kind of like my question too. I was gonna ask, like, if you have too much fiber, like, does that cause diarrhea and stuff? Or
Don't know. I'm not a doctor.
did your body it was because you said like daily intake of fiber, so I thought like if you had too much of fiber.
It really comes down to your body. You need what you need. This is average adult, right? This is not even for kids. This is average adult. Real quick, then we got to move on.
This is more of a personal question.
Okay.
But do you know any foods that do have fiber in it?
Most foods have some kind of fiber in it. That don't have or do have. Oh, dude, just look it up. Just Google like foods with fiber. Yeah. So I did the opposite, Max. I Googled like foods with high sodium to know what to avoid. Right? So if you're looking for foods with high fiber, just Google it. All right. If we have 16%, how do we figure out what percent we're missing? Somebody knew. Somebody I had Logan? Yeah, we subtract 16 away from 100. I don't know what that is quickly. 84. Now off to the side, we're going to set up equivalent fractions. I'll grab a granola bar in a second and tell you guys if we can focus and make it through this. Draw this on your paper. The fraction equal to the fraction.
That's a G, right?
Yeah, for grams. In a Nature Valley, oats and honey. Dietary fiber, 2 grams. Only 2. And then, so guys, this is what I say I love about CPM. This 2 grams is approximately 9%. About half of 16, right? So really it'd be about 8%, but maybe this was, from a different data set. But this is real information. Hang on real quick, because I got to keep teaching for a moment, because we're running out of time quicker than I want to. What else do we know? Do we know another grams, or do we know another percent?
Another percent.
We know 84%, so go ahead and fill that in. If we don't know how to multiply to go forwards, we divide backwards. So somebody with a calculator, do 84 divided by 16. Thank you, Dana. Then multiply that by your numerator, by your 4, right? Should be like 20 something, I think. So 5.25 times 4. I think it's 21.
29.
Yeah, we get 21 then. Now wait a minute. Does that 21 go here or here? Left or right? Left, right? That's this. Meaning that out here, this question mark, what's your daily grams of fiber you should be getting?
21%.
Oh, 25. So in a day, the average adult should be consuming 25 grams of fiber. You could look it up for you. You'd have to tell it male or female, age, body size. This is average data. Great G. Sorry, my cursive G's are really sloppy.
I thought that was a G.
So one thing to make sure you guys see with the worksheet I handed out, always percent values. I mean, there's a very rare occasion they make an image different than this, but pretty much most CPM images like this are going to have percents on bottom. Okay, so the thing we're talking about is on top. So here we were talking about grams of fiber. This will be grams of fiber. This will be grams of fiber, and everything on bottom is percent values. Do we have any questions? Max? Well, your head was on your desk, so I can like come back and help you. But aside from you making the poop out your heart joke, I didn't really see you engaging.
That was a joke. I actually would. I don't really understand how would you get. Never mind. I just realized.
So I'll come back and make sure you're all good to
No,
go. But
but
you guys need this information for the next one. So pull out what you think is important and start to fill in on your diagram what goes where.
So if somebody eats too much, because like I've heard this before, but if somebody eats too much cheese, is that what
It normally stops you up. Yeah. It's dairy.
you get constipated?
But cheese specifically.
I just realized that's how you got 25 is pretty much
That goes 25.
It's okay.
Really though, head on desk, not okay. Keep engaging with stuff. Yeah. That is the whole gap. So great question from Morgan. The line below this is talking about the entire distance of this space. Remember, it's going to be percent. You're looking at how the line is broken up and what percent goes where. So the information they tell us in the problem, a large carrot has 6 milligrams of vitamin C. They go on to tell us that that comes from a recommended 6D milligrams of vitamin C that you should have every day. So when we think about part 2 whole relationships, well, okay, so now they tell us they broke this line up into 10 parts.
Which would mean that every part is 10%.
Which would mean that every part is 10%.
So it'd be 10% and 90%.
So this will be 10%, whereas this will be 90%. Now, the other thing we can fill in is the 6 and the 60. And actually then something else that we can figure out. Oh, because they told us 6, that's the part we're working with. And when we make these diagrams, the part we're looking at goes on top at the beginning, right? 6 milligrams. And if we compare 6 to 60, or 6 over 60, yeah, it's a tenth. What is a tenth when we talk about percentages? 10%. So it makes sense. Guys, give me your eyes up here real quick. It makes sense that our 6 out of 60 is 10% of that graph. This is actually a type of graph. Does anyone have questions questions on why 6 milligrams out of 60 milligrams is 1/10, which is 10%. Maxim, was that stretch?
Yeah, that was stretching.
Layla?
Okay, so if you count 6 60 times, I mean, not, not that. If you multiply, because 12 times 6 is
Not
60.
12. 10 times 6. 12 times 5 is 60, is probably what you're thinking of.
Thank you.
You are welcome. So then we can fill in the total, your 100% daily value. What are you supposed to have every day?
6 milligrams.
Not 6.
60.
60. So this right here, guys, I'm going to get a pen.
What if you eat more than that?
Vitamin C isn't really going to do anything bad to you. Really, it gives you energy. Like, vitamin C helps give you energy. Hey, guys, if this is 6 and the whole thing is 60, what's the missing section?
54.
54. A lot of you just shouted stuff out really quick, didn't even listen to the question. We're talking about the top, right? Milligrams. If that's 6 and the whole thing is 60, this is 54. Because 6 and 54 make 60.
You could also get it by, you can get the answer by minus, you get 60 minus 6, you get 54.
Yeah. Then let's do one more of these. We're going to go get some purple paint. So, I need you to fill in on your paper how much total paint is there going to be, how many parts, right? It might be quarts, might be gallons, but whatever the parts are, they're giving it to us in parts. What percent would go down here made out of blue? So you can go ahead and make these brackets if you want, if you're able to. They don't have to be fancy. What percent is blue? What percent is red? We know it's 100% total. Take a couple minutes to try to figure that out. How do we figure out that percent? How many parts total? It is 100% purple, but how many parts? Because you already have your percent that goes on the bottom. On top, it does the same thing as what we're already working with. I'm going to go ahead and help you guys with this, just the very top, because I feel like there's a tiny bit of confusion. If we have 3 parts blue, let's call it gallons. You have 3 gallons blue. And you have 12 gallons red. How many gallons total do we have? 15. So over here, this should be 15 total gallons or total parts of purple. 15 parts. How do we find those percent values? Remember, to find percent, we can compare part to whole. We can divide. Not times it. Divide it. I don't care if you write this on your worksheet or your graph paper, but here's the trick. Percent is part divided by whole times 100. And the times 100 you don't even have to remember, as long as you remember we have to move our decimal. So grab a calculator or a partner or somebody with a calculator. What part represents our blue paint here? 3, right? What's our whole here? 15. So 3 over 15 is also equal to 1/5, which is 0.20, which is really 20%. That blue section is 20%. I would ask that you also write out the work for red, although I'm sure you can guess it's 80%, because 20 and 80 make 100. But the work for red would be 12 divided by 15 would be 0.8, and then we can add on a 0 if we want. That times 100 bumps that decimal, and it becomes 80% red. And once it's mixed together, it's 100% purple.
Whoa.
If you are actually curious about this, the Hard Road hardware.
Wouldn't it be mostly like a light purple then?
Well, I mean, what shade of purple it is, it'll be more red than it is blue, but blue is a pretty strong color because it's dark. Darker colors are pretty strong. I mean, red is also dark too. If you're curious to see this in action, Hard Road hardware, like Ace up on Hard Road and Smoky, they have an old school, like non-digital paint mixing station where they like set dials and like squirt colors in. Instead of at Lowe's and Home Depot, they stick a can in, they type the thing in the computer, and it does the work. They pound the lid on, it shakes it. But at Ace Hardware, it's kind of interesting because you can actually see everything they're doing.
One of you guys have one of the pink calculators?
No.
Well, there's one of the 8
They're both up there.
No, there should be 4.
Four.
Yeah.
Wait, did you have it like last class? Did you have it?
No,
I
I
think
have
Miss
it
Goldring had a bunch of calculators. I think I remember seeing one in there.
Maybe.
Yeah, it was pink. Yeah.
Somebody probably just lost it around the school.
Did you find it?
It would be a shame if somebody took it.
Um, Hey, in an effort to start us back kind of easy, you have the next 8 minutes to work on your homework.
Yay!
So flip your page over, get us started.